Losing a leg in a hunting accident could certainly change the direction of a young man's life. And our next guest knows all about that. Welcome Hunter Rasmussen to the table. Welcome.
Thank you.
Our Ras at the table.
Yes.
Okay, guys, near and dear to my sweetheart. This is Hunter, and him and Bo were really good friends growing up, and especially football kind of brought them all together. But he is an amazing soul, and he has got such a story to tell us. So just share a little bit about you, your childhood, and then your story.
I'd love to. So I kind of had my childhood in Saratoga Springs, but I moved here in 9th grade. So I moved in, not really having many friends, and I was able to have friends through football, like she said, and other sports. And I was a 3-sport athlete, so I played baseball, football, and wrestling.
Wow. And he was amazing. He's going to be humble, but he was good at all of them, guys.
He is
good at all of them.
Yeah, I love sports. Like, that was my life, and that's, I guess, how I stayed out of trouble, you know.
That's good. That's great.
with sports, so, and I love them still, but as y'all know, I have had a little bit of an accident, so it actually is coming up 6 months this month on the 22nd, 6 months since my accident. So
that's all?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking this has been years ago.
No.
He is transitioning.
And you're 21. Let's clarify
21.
with everybody. Okay, 21.
Yeah, I just turned 21 on May 26th, so just 2 weeks ago. So
okay.
Yeah, so the day before Thanksgiving, November 22nd, me and one of my really good buddies were hunting, duck hunting up in Schofield, and it was like the perfect morning ever. Like, you know, like, I don't know if you guys can imagine like a really cold, crisp, like Thanksgiving morning where you walk outside and the grass is like dew, but it's also like frozen over, but it's like clear skies and no wind.
Yeah.
It was like
nice.
Gorgeous, right? And like, I tell everyone my chances of being like just the chances of that accident happening that day were so rare that I could have got struck by lightning that day, and it was clear skies, like it was blue skies. Like, that's how just like crazy it was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so he was walking behind me. We just got done cleaning everything up. We were getting ready to go, and we saw these ducks fly around the corner from us. So we walked around, and he went to see if it was going on safety, and obviously it wasn't. And so it hit me in the back of the leg, like right behind my kneecap. And immediately I dropped to the ground. I knew exactly what had happened because it was just me and him. And so right after that happened, I stood back up because I thought it hit my ankle at first.
It just dropped you.
Because it just dropped me so fast. And so I stood back up, and I knew where we were at. I didn't have service. Like, I knew that for a fact because I have a cabin up there. I've grown up there my whole life, and I just knew we didn't have service. So I went back there. I actually revisited this last month over my birthday weekend. And it's crazy to see how far I walked by that time. It was like 25 yards, I think, that I walked. And then I laid back down because he was like, dude, you got to get down. Like, you're bleeding out everywhere, right? Like, and so he actually saved my life that day too. Because he threw a tourniquet on me, like a makeshift tourniquet. And then, so we finally got service. We lost service probably 3 or 4 times with the cops up there and 911. And so we finally ended up calling my parents, and my dad knew exactly where I was, so they sent him there. As soon as they got there, it had been 45 minutes since I got shot. And I remember in that 45 minutes, I was on the ground, right, like a ton of pain. And I remember a thought came to my head that said, if you close your eyes, you might not wake back up again. And that's still to this day like the scariest thought I've ever had, right? Just thinking like, if I close my eyes and I lose consciousness, I might not wake back up.
Did you feel like it was a choice?
Yeah.
Or a warning?
Yeah, I feel like it was kind of both, where it's like, I definitely could have passed out if I wanted to. I remember there were so many times where I was just like, oh, I just want to go to sleep right now, you know what I mean? But I remember I like had to keep moving around, like keeping myself awake.
I feel like being an athlete and just being aware of your own body and what it can manage or not maybe helped you as well in that
100%.
moment.
And like I think about it all the time, just all the effort and hard work I put into my body. It's like I was able to carry myself that far enough to get service, you know? And so I'm grateful for sports and what it did for me there. And so as soon as they got there, they checked me out after 45 minutes, like I said. Then they had Life Flight come, and by that time it was an hour and 15. And then by the time I got on the helicopter to the hospital, it had been an hour and 40 minutes. And so I was pretty delirious, but I was still with it. And so I remember right when I got there, my parents had just pulled up. Like right as the helicopter landed at Utah Valley, my parents had just pulled up. And they were like, hey, you're gonna be fine. Like, it'll all work out, you know? And in my head that time, I was like, it's just nerve damage, right? Because I knew I couldn't feel my foot. Like I could barely feel my knee still, but I couldn't feel my foot at all. And I remember they like cut my clothes off me, took me to emergency surgery. And over the next 3 days, they did 2 surgeries, which are called fasciotomies, where they cut your calves open because like compartment syndrome. And so where my leg was just kind of swelling up like a balloon. And so they had to do that. And then as soon as they did that, they realized that my leg was dying and all the muscles in my body were just dying off because everything was pretty, like all the muscles and veins were pretty much gone, except that main artery that runs from your groin to your foot. That's the only thing that was intact, and let alone that was a miracle in itself.
Yeah.
But everything else is just gone. And so my leg just basically ended up dying. And so they basically gave me like a choice where it's like, you're either going to die from like the toxin being left in your body from your body dying, or you're gonna have to get your leg amputated. And it was a pretty, I mean, it was a pretty like, I don't know,
cut and dry
decision, you know, black and white. And
How to be done so fast? I'm sure that process is tricky, right?
It was like bang, you know.
So 2 days later.
Well, so 3 days with those 2 surgeries, and then 5 days later they told me that, and then I had the surgery a week later because we had to wait for a certain doctor. So I was sick with 105-degree fever for
Oh my gosh.
6 days, and so I didn't sleep for almost 6 days. And so after that surgery, it was way better. And then they thought they'd have to go up higher because my leg was continuing to die behind my knee. And then
Did they amputate from above the knee or below the knee?
below?
Below the knee.
Yeah,
Okay.
below. So they thought they were gonna have to go above after they did that surgery. And so after that surgery, they went back like a couple days later, and my leg was dying again, like behind my knee, like where the initial shot was. And so I just remember thinking like, this sucks, you know. But I remember I had a conversation with my parents and some of my church leaders, and they're like, everything's gonna work out, right? And so I kind of had made that decision, like it's gonna be fine. If that's what God wants me to do, I'll do it, right?
Did that feel hard?
So
that
hard.
you're in this situation and it's like they are think everything's gonna be fine, but you're like, but here I am,
Right.
and you're in fever and
Yeah.
having to make these tough choices.
Right. Yeah. It was definitely hard, but I think, you know, I think that everything happens for a reason. And that's kind of the mindset I have, you know. And so fast forward a couple days after they had told me that they're thinking about going higher, they rechecked it and everything was good. Like everything was red and viable tissue. And so then they sent me home that day.
Oh,
and that's just
I
2
remember
weeks.
that. We did like a fast and just like lots of love and prayers. But I mean, I owe it to God and to Hunter for what he's been able to accomplish. This young man is strong, and he's got the kindest soul, the best heart. I couldn't think of anyone else that God could put in this position that could then share the message after so beautifully.
Yeah, thank
Sorry.
you.
Yep.
Yeah, so it was 2 weeks to the day of before Christmas, which I was super grateful for because I thought I was gonna have to spend the Christmas and New Year's in the hospital, which I had already missed Thanksgiving alone, you know, which is like one of my favorites because I love food. But so then I've been able to kind of turn this around, and I kind of wanted to look outwards, and I didn't realize how many people are in the same situation or even worse situations than I am. And so I've had really cool opportunities to speak and share my story, which has been an amazing experience. And I have a couple more that are coming up this month, a couple of firesides that I'm doing in Bear Lake and one in Beaver. And it's just been really cool to be able to share my story and to see people, I guess, be inspired by my actions and not necessarily my words. I feel like people are like, yeah, your words are great, but it's more or less my actions, you know. And I think that saying that your actions speak louder than your words is very true, and I've seen that come to pass now. Especially as I have still been able to go to the gym and, you know, still being able to ride a horse, like do the things that I love to do. I know that it'll come with time because it's like I got on crutches, and then as soon as I figure out the crutches, I got a knee crutch, which is way better than crutches. Now I was like at ground zero again, you know. And then I am going through a process right now where I've been really good on the knee crutch, where I actually hiked like 9 miles out in Nevada.
Oh my gosh.
You're not serious.
I'm serious. I hiked 9 miles out in Nevada with a knee crutch on, and then I have a prosthetic now. So now I'm getting used to my prosthetic, and it's like ground zero again. Like I'm walking like a 95-year-old grandpa with it on.
That is so inspiring.
You know? And so it's like, it's just
I
crazy
feel
how.
ashamed that I have good legs and I
I can't even go on a walk.
Oh, 9 miles.
I love
That's
your
cool.
spirit because
Thank
I think
you.
a lot of people could be very bitter. You could be very angry. I'm sure you've gone through all of those emotions, and the fact that in such a short amount of time that you've been able to turn it around and inspire others. Just in the time that we've spent with you, when you can feel that strong spirit, and you'll keep inspiring other people, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Could you share the quote that I loved that you had been?
Yeah, change. Gosh, now I just forgot it.
I know.
Change what you are to who you want to be is pretty much what the quote is. Meaning like, who you are right now means you can be someone better, right? You can inspire other people. And I think as I've gone through this, I've realized that we are so, like, we can be way better than who we like really think we can be, like physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever, right? Like the human body is amazing, you know? Change who you are, change what you are to who you want to be. It's kind of the gist of the quote.
And sometimes you're given like something like this, like a trial that really like changes that. But I think for the everyday person, like it made me like think as a 50-year-old woman, like I can still change. I can still become who I might need to be just by taking a quick action step.
Right. Yeah.
Well, you're creating more control for, I mean, you didn't have control over what happened to your leg.
Yeah.
But you have honed in on what you do have control over and teaching other people that, hey, you still have such a power that you do have control over your life and what you can become and the way you can see things.
Right.
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's hugely inspiring.
Yeah.
Yeah, such a big gift.
Thank
We
you.
Share
love you,
with
Hunter.
others.
I
Thank
cannot
you.
wait to see what the next 5 years has in store. I just feel like you're just going to keep growing and changing lives.
Thank you.
Well, we would love to give you another mug in 5 years. So you do come back and visit us, yes.
I have seen some really cool costumes that you can do with one leg,
So cool.
like a flamingo
Yeah.
and stuff, and like a pirate that people
He's
just
on it, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, there's things that we can't do that you
No.
can.
Nope.
This is you're gonna have one.
It was nice to meet you, Hunter.
Nice
Thanks
to meet
for
you.
joining us.
Yeah, thanks for
We love
having
you,
me.
bud.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.